And I'm just taking it day by day. Some days are better than others, but I'm not here, man. Like, it's never gonna be the same.
Martin St. Louis. The death of a mother is a profound loss that can leave anyone shattered. Canadian ice hockey player Martin St. Louis experienced this in May 2014 when he lost his mom suddenly to a heart attack.
Martin St. Louis found out yesterday when the team landed in Pittsburgh that his mother passed away. He immediately went home to Montreal to be with his family, but he was back today at 3:30 getting ready for this game.
At the time, St. Louis was an undrafted player for the New York Rangers and was scheduled to face the Pittsburgh Penguins just 3 days later. After speaking with his father, he chose to play on Mother's Day, no less. With both his father and sister in the stands, St. Louis inspired his team by scoring their first goal, which ignited the crowd to chant his name.
Take it back for a shot, the pass, stopped by Porter. They scored! And who else?
Ultimately, the Rangers won 3-1, pushing the series to Game 7 and eventually reaching the Stanley Cup Finals.
It was a tough couple days for my family, but I know deep down my mom would want me to play this game.
Torrey Smith. Less than a day before the Baltimore Ravens were set to play against the New England Patriots in September 2012, wide receiver Torrey Smith got some devastating news.
Tevin was killed in a motorcycle accident in northeastern Virginia just after midnight this morning. Torrey was then notified and left the team hotel in Baltimore at about 1:30 this morning to drive to Virginia to be with his family.
His younger brother, Tevin Jones, had died in a motorcycle accident. However, Smith rushed to be with his family, unsure whether he could still play. However, he became convinced after his mother reminded him that Tevin would have wanted him to.
Flacco with time. Flacco going deep, and it's holding with a flag. Torrey Smith with the touchdown.
But Smith didn't just play. He delivered an outstanding performance. The second-year pro caught 6 passes for 127 yards and scored 2 touchdowns, leading the Ravens to a 31-30 victory. It was a powerful display from a man who, even in his grief, found strength in the unwavering support from his football family.
Emotionally, I didn't know, how I would hold up. But, thanks to my teammates and coaches and all the support from really everyone, around the league.
New Orleans Saints. Hurricane Katrina's impact on New Orleans, Louisiana was immense, touching every corner of the city, including its football team, the New Orleans Saints.
It had been 638 days since the Saints played a true home game after the city was decimated by Hurricane Katrina.
The storm severely damaged the Louisiana Superdome, forcing the Saints to play their entire 2005 NFL regular season away from home. By fall 2006, the Saints returned to the Superdome, determined to uplift their city after such devastation.
Suddenly, the Saints had hope. Hope the city of New Orleans could latch onto.
In their first home game, they triumphed over the Atlanta Falcons with a decisive 23-3 victory, kicking off their most successful season up until that point. This was a stunning turnaround for a team once deemed among the NFL's worst. Their momentum carried on until the 2009 season, when they made their first ever Super Bowl appearance and ultimately won.
Eventually sealing the deal to make the New Orleans Saints Super Bowl champs for the first time ever.
Miami Marlins. 1 week before the 2016 baseball season wrapped up, the Miami Marlins lost their star pitcher, Jose Fernandez, in a boating accident.
Fernandez died this weekend after a boat he was a passenger in crashed into the rocks in Miami. His Marlins teammates tearfully paying tribute, canceling their game yesterday.
The team canceled their game that day, but returned the next day to face the New York Mets, all wearing Fernandez's number 16 jersey. The game began with a touching gesture as D. Gordon, typically a left-handed batter, took a right-handed stance in Fernandez's honor.
I can't imagine there are many people in this club who have taken this harder than D. Gordon has.
He's going to take this first pitch from the right-hand batter's box as a salute to Jose Fernandez. And I would guess that was Jose's helmet.
He then switched back and hit his first home run of the season, leading his team to a 7-3 victory. Gordon was overcome with emotion and broke into tears. A similar rallying moment occurred with the Los Angeles Angels, who went on to win the 2009 American League West shortly after losing their starting pitcher, Nick Adenhart.
That's it! The Angels have won 3 straight American League West titles, and Irvin Santana shuts out the Rangers to win the West.
Sachin Tendulkar. India's 1999 Cricket World Cup campaign started disastrously with a loss to South Africa in their opening game.
A clinical operation by South Africa. Their science and their fitness and their teamwork was just too much in the end for India's skill and enthusiasm.
The team hoped to get back on track in their next match against Zimbabwe. But the night before, star batter Sachin Tendulkar received the devastating news that his father had passed away. Tendulkar returned home for the funeral, missing the Zimbabwe match, which ended in another defeat for India.
And a remarkable win by Zimbabwe. Henry Alonga has cleaned up the tail, and Zimbabwe win by 3 runs.
Just days later, Tendulkar returned to Bristol in time for the crucial playoff against Kenya. If India lost this game, they would be eliminated. Despite his overwhelming grief, Tendulkar pulled off an impressive play, scoring an emotional century against Kenya to keep India in the tournament.
Tendulkar goes for a maximum and gets it easily.
He dedicated the century to his father's memory.
You couldn't have done it in better style.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure he must have been watching me from there, so did it for him.
Ana Fidelia Quirot, one of Cuba's most renowned athletes. Ana Fidelia Quirot dominated the 800 meters race, winning bronze at the 1992 Olympic Games.
And Van Langen finds what she must have been praying for, the space that wasn't there a moment before, and storms through the fastest time in the world this year, 1:55.54. Nurutdinova is second, Quirot third.
The following year, however, Quirot was involved in a domestic accident that nearly ended her career and her life. While she was 7 months pregnant, a kerosene stove exploded in her home, inflicting severe burns on over 1/3 of her body. The accident forced an early delivery, but unfortunately, her baby passed away after 1 week. Nevertheless, Quirot fought her way back through recovery, and within months, she was back on the track, clinching a silver medal at the Central American Games in late 1993. By 1995, she had cemented her comeback with a gold medal at the World Championships in Gothenburg.
They said, Anna, you will never run again. At the end of 1993, she took the whole of last season off, and she's won at the world level for the first time.
Glory Alosi. At the 2000 Olympic Games in Sydney, Nigerian track and field star Glory Alosi was the favorite to win the women's high hurdles. Alosi had traveled to Australia with her fiancé, Agnes Anugo, a relay alternate for the Nigerian men's team.
It's an experience I really don't like talking about because it makes me go emotional, and it was really difficult.
However, just days before the opening ceremony, while Alosi was in Japan for a final test, Anugo was tragically struck by a car and killed instantly. This loss was tremendous for Alosi. She went days without eating or sleeping and even considered dropping out of the Olympics.
Not able to train, no sleepless nights, lots of, distractions, and those things, I think they really affected my performance.
Yet, within days, she managed to regain her form, blazing through her heat rounds and ultimately securing a silver medal in the hurdles. Considering the immense tragedy she had endured, her achievement was nothing short of remarkable. Pete Sampras. In 1995, Pete Sampras entered the Australian Open as the #1 tennis player in the world. In the quarterfinals, he faced fellow American Jim Courier and was favored to win.
Sampras faced his friend and on-court rival, two-time champion Jim Courier.
However, Sampras was struggling emotionally, as his longtime coach and friend Tim Gullickson had fallen seriously ill and was rushed back to the U.S. for treatment. Gullickson would later be diagnosed with brain cancer, which he succumbed to in 1996. During his match against Courier, Sampras was visibly affected by his coach's condition. His emotions erupted when a fan shouted, "Do it for your coach," which caused him to break down in tears. Although Courier offered to postpone the game, Sampras opted to continue and ultimately defeated him.
He's got it. The crowd have gone absolutely berserk here.
New York Mets. By the time the New York Mets faced the Atlanta Braves on September 21st, 2001, the city was still reeling from the terrorist attacks just 10 days earlier.
It was a Friday, and the Mets were playing the Braves in the midst of a pennant race. The night would be unlike any other the players and their fans ever experienced.
This game marked the return of baseball and sports in general to New York and became a powerful moment for the grieving city. In the 8th inning, the Mets came from behind when Mike Piazza delivered a 2-run homer, lifting the team to a 3-2 victory.
And it's hit deep to left center. Andrew Jones on the run. This one has a chance. Home run! Mike Piazza, and the Mets lead 3-2.
The incredible shot not only won the game, it also offered a brief but profound relief that New Yorkers desperately needed. That same spirit of resilience was present in Boston when the Red Sox secured a 4-3 win over the Kansas City Royals just days after the 2013 marathon bombing.
Drew will go to first base, and the Red Sox will win. Sox have won 7 straight, but this one at home at Fenway Park was important.
Isaiah Thomas. In April 2017, Boston Celtics point guard Isaiah Thomas faced a heart-wrenching challenge just before the NBA playoffs. One day before their game against the Chicago Bulls, Thomas learned that his younger sister China had died in a car accident.
Isaiah Thomas, consoled by his close friend Avery Bradley, still trying to cope with the tragic loss of his 22-year-old sister China just yesterday.
The loss certainly wasn't easy. Hours before the game, he was seen in tears as his teammates tried to comfort him. But remarkably, Thomas decided to join them on the court, delivering a stellar performance with 33 points, 6 assists, and 5 rebounds. And he did that while wearing sneakers marked with messages like R.I.P. Lil Sis and I love you. Although the Celtics lost 106-102, Thomas's ability to play through such immense personal pain won the admiration of fans everywhere.
And I'm just taking it day by day. I'm not. Some days are better than others, but I'm not here, man. Like it's never gonna be the same. So.
Brett Favre. While playing in high school, former NFL quarterback Brett Favre was coached by his father, Irvin, who essentially shaped his formative years. Irvin remained an important figure in Favre's life until December 21st, 2003, when he tragically died of a heart attack while driving.
The most difficult start of Brett Favre's illustrious career.
The following day, Favre's team, the Green Bay Packers, was scheduled to play against the Oakland Raiders in a Monday night football game. After much consideration, Favre chose to take the field. What followed became one of the most memorable performances of his career. Favre threw for 399 total yards and 4 touchdowns, leading the Packers to a decisive 41-7 victory.
This night will be remembered for Brett Favre, period.
His gameplay was so good, he received a standing ovation from Raiders fans and later won an ESPY Award. Dale Earnhardt Jr. The 2001 Pepsi 400 at the Daytona International Speedway in Florida was a profoundly significant race for Dale Earnhardt Jr. Just 5 months earlier, his father, the legendary Dale Earnhardt Sr., died in a crash on the same track during the Daytona 500.
I love to watch that race, and I love that people appreciate it. I love when it's acknowledged and celebrated. For me, it might be my fondest moment as a race car driver.
In fact, the Pepsi 400 was the first race in the Daytona International Speedway since the tragic accident. So at least emotionally, Earnhardt Jr. had a lot to prove. On that hot July day, Earnhardt Jr. pulled through, delivering a remarkable victory in the Pepsi 400 before thousands. The win was symbolic, not just for him personally, but also for NASCAR fans, who saw it as a tribute to the legacy of his father.
It was nice to be able to go there, and I had all this anger and frustration and sadness built up, It was good to release it and with a smile and with happiness and joy over it. We finally had something to celebrate and be happy about.
Marshall Thundering Herd football team. On November 14, 1970, Southern Airways Flight 932 was carrying most of the Marshall University Thundering Herd football team from North Carolina to West Virginia. Tragically, the plane crashed shortly before landing, killing everyone on board, including 37 players, 8 coaching staff, and 25 boosters. Devastated but determined, the team began to rebuild under the guidance of new coach Jack Lengel, combining the remaining players with a host of new recruits. After a tough loss in their first away game, the Thundering Herd bounced back in their home opener against Xavier University, scoring a last-second touchdown to secure a narrow 15-13 win.
People could not believe the fact that not only had Marshall put a team back on the field, they actually won the game.
It was undoubtedly an emotional victory that helped them honor their fallen teammates. Did you watch any of these incredible comeback performances live? Let us know in the comments below.
The national anthem ended. The New York Mets and the Marlins all met on the diamond and shared an embrace, a very extraordinary moment here at Marlins Park.